We thought the Gatorade commercial was the end of the story. It turns out it was the start of the punishment. Breaking news tonight. The Cleveland Browns front office just released disturbing information regarding Shedeur Sanders' roster spot. While the fans celebrated Shedeur as the starter, GM Andrew Berry reportedly leaked a memo to insiders, labeling Shedeur as expendable. The report claims his $100 million AMIRI deal makes him uncoachable and suggests the team is actively looking to draft his replacement at pick number 6. They are calling his recent behavior conduct detrimental and threatening to void his guarantees. But the most disturbing part isn't the threat. It's who they are talking to. I have the flight logs showing the Browns just flew in the #1 quarterback in the draft for a secret midnight workout. Subscribe and hit the bell right now. If you want to know who they are trying to replace Shedeur with, click that button. Let's check the flight logs. Here is how the Browns are trying to sabotage him one last time. The Cleveland Browns are making NFL head coaches write essays. No, I am not joking. I am not making this up. We finally have the answer as to why this coaching search is taking forever, why top candidates like Mike McDaniel are running away, and why the organization looks paralyzed. It turns out, if you want to coach the Cleveland Browns, you don't just need a playbook. You need a #2 pencil and a Scantron sheet. According to explosive new reports from NFL insider Tom Pelissero, the Browns front office is requiring grown men, candidates who are millionaires and football geniuses, to complete homework assignments, take personality tests, and write multi-part essays before they can even get a second interview. While Kevin Stefanski is down in Atlanta cashing checks and building a staff, the Browns are grading papers. This is the most embarrassing story of the offseason, and it explains everything. Is this Moneyball gone wrong, or have the Browns completely lost their minds? Let's break it down. We have to go back to the source. Tom Pelissero just dropped a bomb on the Rich Eisen show. He revealed that the Browns operation is unlike any other in the NFL. They are a data-driven operation. That sounds cool, right? Until you realize what it means. It means they aren't looking for a leader of men. They aren't looking for a guy who can motivate a locker room or command respect from Myles Garrett. They are looking for a specific type. Pelissero described the ideal Browns candidate as very smart, tall, thin guys who came from Ivy League schools. Let that sink in. They are profiling candidates based on whether they look like they belong in a spreadsheet seminar. To find these guys, they are making candidates take extensive personality tests. They are handing out homework assignments between the first and second interviews. Imagine you are a top coordinator. You just flew in from a playoff game. Your family is packing boxes. You are exhausted. And Jimmy Haslam hands you a prompt and says, write me 500 words on why you want this job. Is it any wonder Mike McDaniel withdrew? Is it any wonder Jesse Minter said, no thanks? These guys are football coaches, not college applicants. The arrogance of the Browns to ask for this is staggering. But the homework isn't the only reason they are stuck. They are also legally paralyzed. As we sit here today, the Cleveland Browns cannot hire a head coach. Why? Because they still haven't satisfied the Rooney Rule. The NFL mandates that you need 2 in-person interviews with minority candidates. So far, the Browns have done 0 that count. Jim Schwartz doesn't count, and Zoom interviews don't count for the final tally. They are banking everything on Nate Sheilhase, the Rams pass game coordinator. But here is the catch. They can't interview him until next Monday, because the Rams are in the playoffs. So, the entire franchise is frozen. They are sitting on their hands for a week, just waiting to check a box with a 35-year-old assistant coach, while the rest of the league is filling out their staffs. It is bureaucratic incompetence at its finest. They knew the rules, they knew the timeline, and yet they boxed themselves into a corner where they literally cannot make a move. So who are the big brain candidates that fit this weird Ivy League mold? Let's look at the guys who are actually willing to write the essays. First, there is Grant Udinski. He is the Jaguars offensive coordinator. He just turned 30 years old. Insiders say he is unbelievably brilliant. He fits the pattern perfectly. Young, smart, probably great at math. But he has 1 year of play calling experience. Are you really going to hand the keys of a chaotic franchise to a guy who was in college when Baker Mayfield was drafted? Then there is Nate Scheelhaase. He's in his mid-30s. He's never been an NFL coordinator before this year with the Rams. Yet the Browns are willing to wait weeks just to talk to him. These are the guys the analytics department wants. They want a young genius they can mold. They don't want a gritty football guy like Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick who will tell them to shove their personality tests. They want compliance. We have to talk about the ghost in the machine, Paul DePodesta. For years he was the chief strategy officer. He brought the Moneyball approach from baseball to Cleveland. Even though reports say his influence has changed, this essay requirement proves that his system is still running the show. This is the problem with applying baseball logic to football. In baseball, the manager just sets the lineup based on stats. In football, the head coach has to lead 53 men into violent collisions. You cannot quantify leadership on a Scantron sheet. You cannot measure grit in an essay. The Browns are trying to solve a human problem with a calculator, and the result is that they are alienating the actual football people. Agents are laughing at them. Other GMs are mocking them. The Moneyball experiment has resulted in 1 playoff win in a decade, yet they are doubling down on the very process that drives normal coaches away. But what happens if the kids fail the test? What happens if Grant Udinski's essay has a typo? The insiders believe the default option is Jim Schwartz. This is the safety net. If they can't find their tall, thin Ivy League genius, they will just hire the defensive coordinator who is already in the building. But think about how awkward that is. Jim Schwartz is 59 years old. He has been a head coach. He led the defense to #1 in the league. And yet, the Browns are making him wait while they interview 30-year-olds. They are basically telling him, you are our backup plan. If they hire him, it's a defeat for the analytics department. But if they don't hire him, they want him to stay as defensive coordinator. Imagine being Jim Schwartz. You interview for the boss's job, they give it to a kid who is half your age, and then they ask you to work for the kid? That is a recipe for a locker room mutiny. Let's look at the checkbook, because Jimmy Haslam is lighting money on fire. Kevin Stefanski just signed a 5-year deal with the Falcons. But remember, the Browns fired him with years left on his contract. Depending on the offset language, Haslam is likely still paying Stefanski millions of dollars to coach another team. Now, he has to pay a new head coach. And if he hires a big-brain rookie like Udinski, he probably gets him cheap. But if he has to panic hire a veteran, it costs more. This dysfunction isn't just embarrassing, it's expensive. And when owners lose money, they get impatient. This adds even more pressure to the new hire. If the essay writer comes in and goes 4-13, Haslam is going to blow it up again, and he will be paying 3 coaches at the same time. Here is the angle nobody is talking about. The players. Imagine Myles Garrett. He is a defensive player of the year. He is a grown man. He wants to win a Super Bowl. Now imagine the Browns bring in a 30-year-old head coach who got the job because he wrote a really good essay about synergy. How does that play in the locker room? Football players smell fear. They smell inauthenticity. If the new coach comes in talking about data points and homework assignments, the veterans are going to tune him out by week 4. We saw this with Brandon Staley. We saw this with other analytics coaches. If you can't connect with the players on a human level, the math doesn't matter. The Browns are risking a full-scale mutiny by prioritizing smart over leader. And finally, we have to bring it back to the most important person in the 2026 draft, Shedeur Sanders. If the Browns draft Shedeur, who is going to coach him? Do you pair the most famous, high-profile, brand-conscious quarterback in the draft with a 30-year-old rookie coach who is terrified of the owner? Or do you pair him with a defensive coach, Schwartz, who doesn't know offense? Shedeur Sanders is watching this. He sees the dysfunction. He sees the homework. Do you think Prime wants his son playing for an organization that treats coaching searches like a high school science fair? This botched search might cost them Shedeur. He might pull an Eli Manning and refuse to play for a team that can't even hire a coach properly. The essay scandal is a red flag that screams stay away to every top prospect in the draft.